Welcome to the LiveCast Conversations with. On this show, my guests and I explore the bumps and triumphs of their journey to extract the gems from their experiences, because success leaves clues, and today we turn those clues into billboards for you. I'm your host, Gene Bernier, founder of Pealed, speaker and co-active coach, guiding leaders to ruthlessly pursue a life worth living. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 94 of the LiveCast Conversations with. Today my guest is Torsten Buchholz. Torsten is a strategic leader in supply chain management with decades of experience which spans multiple industries. He believes all new technologies deserve to be taken seriously and with a strategic view to maximize ROI through risk mitigation, operational excellence, and holistic contract management with suppliers. Torsten embodies the following quote: "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Through surviving cancer, Torsten has discovered a new perspective on his life and lives it to his fullest. He's developed 2 questions which he asks himself regularly to ensure he is open to all that life has to offer to him. Torsten, thank you so much for finally being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Gene. I've looked forward to it for a while there, and things got in the way, but this is fantastic. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Of course, we always have some great conversations, so it's
we do.
Even more excited that we get to have one that's recorded now to share with everybody else. So there's definitely a lot to chew into just from your from what you do and who you are and how you be that, especially in today's day and age right now. Supply chain's a big thing that's on everybody's mind, and as well, you've learned to overcome some pretty serious things in your life, and you're one of the most upbeat people about it all that I've met. So I think there's lots to chew in. Where would you like to start?
I'm good either way. Whatever whatever path you want to go down to, I'll come along for the journey, and then we'll look at the other side of it.
I love it.
Both personal and professional, I guess.
Well, let's kick it off with your, the questions that we kind of refer to, and the things that the 2 things that you ask yourself, because I think that's going to really meld into the rest of your experience.
Absolutely.
So let's share with those and how you came to develop those.
The first one wasn't by choice, and it wasn't my question. It was one that, being in leadership there, the company I was working with, they had an outside consultant like yourself there that came in and worked with the leadership team there, and it wound up being a career development question, and it is, what would I be if I wasn't afraid? So it's kind of important there, because there are certain things that are in our psyche that hold us back from exploring opportunities. And in my case at that time, how could I be a better leader? Because I wasn't doing a good job. There were complaints and I didn't understand. So it forced me to be introspective. And that was a new concept. And I think I was in my 30s at the time when I learned this. So, it has impacted me for quite some time there.
That's a powerful question. Who would I be if I wasn't afraid?
Yeah. And the second, sorry, go ahead.
So within that, it's interesting that brought some real introspection from the place of leadership, and hearing that. So what did you discover that you were afraid of within that introspection? Or what was the root and the power of that to open up some pathways around your leadership?
Well, I think there was a fear of failure. There was the fear, can I trust my people to do the job? Because it's going to reflect badly on me if they screw up, and getting over that fear, and as opposed to it being about me, figuring out a way how to make it about them, and then their success would be then reflected in my success. So in other words, I guess the current word vernacular is servant leader. I became one. Right. By accident, well before the word was ever coined there.
Yeah.
So it gave me an opportunity. Well, if I trust my folks and I put them in a position to succeed, gave them the resources, the training, the tools, the time, when they can't have a question, hey, yes, come on in, close the door of the office, or, stop me while we're walking on the production floor. You know, these had positive results there. And then there's always, you have your annual one-on-ones there, and then doing the 360 and all of that there.
Yeah.
Finding out with probing questions, what their dreams were, and saying, well, how would if we set the bar even higher?
Oh.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, actually, you probably have it in you based upon what I saw there. And I get a charge out of seeing people succeed beyond their limits, and afterwards going, whoa, what happened here? I wasn't able to do that 5 years ago, or even 5 minutes ago.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing.
That's an incredible thing. Like what I'm hearing behind all this is another like term, psychological safety, that has come up a lot, which you were implementing long before it became a part of the vernacular of leadership. So I think though, like what you're sharing is, this is what being a leader means, is like, who would I be if I wasn't afraid? And for you, you took away the sense of like failure being the stink and the sting on your career, going, what if I was able to remove that? Who could I be for my people? And then all of a sudden they went, well, who could we be? Because now you remove that opportunity, that perspective of like, we're not afraid here. We're doing some cool stuff. And probably every once in a while, the team's going to trip, as every team does. Instead of getting down, it sounds like that was a place to get back up and reach for even more.
Yeah. And it's easy enough to fall back into that, oh, no, I can't do it.
Yes.
Well, all you did was discover one path that you can't do.
Yes.
So where can we go from here? Can we, zig to the left, zig to the right, take 2 steps backwards, and then move forward again? So let's work on this together. And you're leading with questions as to how my team members would. They were the ones who had to explore the solution.
Yes.
It was and as a type A personality that's hands-on there and Mr. Control Freak here, I wanted so desperately, here's the answer, please let me give it to you. But no, if I did, then I would be ruining everything that I was trying to achieve. That's not to say that if they right out asked me for an answer there, that I would suggest, not tell, suggest, and I would, utilize. I would be very careful with my answer there. That perhaps this is a path that could be explored.
Right. So you played with possibilities with them, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Oh, and I like the thing about you said it's just one path. Is Tom Bilyeu recently had a speech about separating the mission from the paths, and a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to go do X, and they think that's their mission. Be like, well, no, that's just one path towards your mission. What is your mission? Oh, I'm here to actually help people have metabolic health. That was his, right? One path was the nutrition bar. One path was like the talking. One path was this. And where I hear from this leadership standpoint is like, you said earlier that they set their dreams together. Well, now we know where the mission is, and here's all these paths that could potentially get them to it.
Yeah, you present them with a high-level goal. Okay, so these are some of the KPIs that are required as per the corporate requirements. Okay, we need to find, I work mainly in procurement, but I've of course have touched all aspects of supply chain there. So, we'll use procurement as an example, though. Okay, we need to achieve X percentage of cost reduction. Well, okay, well that's a hard number there. So how can we achieve it? Well, and there's multiple strategies there. And again, that personal relationship with you as a leader that you have with your team, will you then translate that, and how do you have that with your vendor base? Right? You're managing the expectations there in the same fashion. There, okay, well, hey, ABC company, I need to get X percent cost reductions. How can we achieve it? And they're going to say, no, we can't do it. It's rare that they say, oh, sure, we'd love to give you.
Please cut into our bottom line.
For more, But you know what? And then you make it as a goal for the team, not as for a person. So we succeed as a team and we fail as a team there, because and I learned this from one of my former bosses, Brad. And he said, because one of the portfolios, like there were 4 buyers there, one of the portfolios was impossible to get. The commodity prices were going the wrong way. It was for steel.
Right.
And so there was no way she was going to be able to get the cost reduction. So the remaining 3 of us, we just picked it up. We did it and we covered her. So as a team of 4 or 5, including the boss, we achieved it. Yeah. And I use that example to show others there. The next year, well, I know that I just barely achieved my target, like by 0.1% or something like that. But she, on the other hand, was the all-star, double digits. There was so much more. And I go, oh, hey, it works both ways. When you work together as a team, it's a fantastic feeling there when you
it's the power of we over me, right?
Yeah, absolutely there. But there's so many things that you experience throughout life there where it's all about me, like a single achievement there. That's why, playing team sports as a young child is really a great developmental tool. Like even if it's Timbit soccer or hockey, whatever there, and they all run around from one end with chasing the ball or the puck there and then back and forth. It doesn't matter. It builds the foundation, the root for, like, hey, how do we work together as a team?
Yes. Yeah. And having having the idea of the goals and playing to the ultimate level of the team, bringing everybody up, and knowing that some points, just like in your example here at work, is that sometimes somebody's path is so blocked that the rest of the team has to pick it up. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes a strong team, because the next game next season, your coworker was the rock star.
She was absolutely there. And there's a trust issue there as well. You got to trust that your coworkers aren't going to go, you didn't pull up your weight there. Because you're putting yourself out there going, hey, we did not achieve this.
Yeah.
What can we do to help make sure that everybody does this?
Yeah.
Right. So it's important there. And having that team mentality leads to many successes, not only internally, but also externally, right? Yeah. Within the company.
And I'm sure that can melt and spread into other areas of life as well.
Oh yeah, and that you set the standard there, and all of a sudden the other teams within the company see, hey, those supply chain guys are having fun. What are they doing?
What are they doing that we're not? What do they know? Are they having more pizza parties than us?
Well, when the vendor brings in pizza. No.
So where else has this, since that time, how has that one question continued to impact what your journey and where you've gotten to?
Right. Well, and I think that's where the personal half of the conversation comes in there. So on March 7th, 2020, I was diagnosed with cancer. Well, they weren't sure at that point what type, but the big C word came out, and that's sort of that's an eye-opening moment there. You know that one day you're going to die. Yeah. It's sort of theoretical, it's out there, but when they say, now we have a mechanism to make sure that you do, and it could be within a short period of time, that you come to that reality going, this is life-altering.
Yeah.
I had to have a biopsy done there in order to determine what type of, they took one of the little tumors out there to find out what type there, and started treatments, I guess. And this, of course, is at the beginning of the pandemic. So, hey, you're going to give me 30 rounds of radiation plus 2 rounds of chemo and just beat the snot out of my immune system right in the middle of a pandemic. That's the good. My timing is excellent as per usual here on this one. So, from there on, when as you're sitting there, and as I said to you before we got on the air here, is that they tell you that the 2 weeks post-treatment are the worst, and they do not lie. I'd like to give a big shout out to the team at Tom Baker in Calgary there. Customer service is sort of a pet peeve of mine there. Yeah. I don't think I could have been in better hands than with those folks. I was a person. I wasn't a case or a number, and they kept their professional distance to a degree. The doctors, anyway, the nurses, well, they're a little more hands-on there, and the nurse practitioner there. yeah, they're the reason, a big part of the reason why I'm here today, not just from the medical point of view, but
Yeah.
yeah. So then you're sitting there and you're recovering, and well, you lost 50 pounds in 5 weeks, and you're going, I'd like to eat one of these days. That's a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't swallow, so that was sort of a prerequisite there, and but it also gives you the going, well, I can't go out, so now I have time to think and be inside of my own cranium there and going, well, what would I be if I wasn't afraid? This is a reset. I know I had no doubt that I was going to survive this. There just was no other way. I'm too stubborn and or stupid there to agree to the fact that I might die here. No, I just
Yeah.
refused. And that positive thinking may or may not have had an effect. I don't know. There's no way to gauge that. But yeah, so then I'm looking at myself going, okay, because this wasn't the only calamity I was facing there. Of course, a COVID layoff. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle of going through my divorce. So I'm going, yeah, all I need now is COVID, and I'll get a free set of steak knives. That's 4 tragedies all in one shot there. So what I did there, I examined what had worked in my life, what doesn't work in my life now, what are the possibilities. And I came up with all of these great ideas, and some of them were suggested by other. And again, I'm still living in Calgary, but my buddy Will, he lived here in Kelowna for 30 years, raised his family here, and he was visiting here, and he kept on sending me all of these pictures of these lovely young ladies, and age appropriate. And he said, "Oh, I'll introduce you to all of these ladies." Hey, that's not a bad way. Maybe I should go visit. So after 6 weeks, and I started feeling like I could walk up and down a flight of stairs again, I thought, yeah, you know what? It's time for just to take a chance, go out there on a vacation.
Yeah.
And Kelowna is fantastic. Coming out here for vacation there, and it was amazing. He didn't introduce me to any of those lovely ladies there.
We'll talk to Will about that later on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, Will, of course. Yeah, he kind of failed on that one. But, I had such a good time, and it was so different from what I was used to. And I thought, well, I'll just go look on Indeed and see what the job market's like there.
Yeah.
Found the company that was looking for a supply chain manager. And that's 30 days old, but I'll just take a chance and see, hey, have you hired that person? And they hadn't found the right candidate. And long story short there, end of October 5th, I wound up being my starting date here. And, it was so different industry. I'd never been in this industry before. And, but the principles still apply. And there are certain commodities there's certain things that you have to do as far as supply chain procurement goes there in private industry there that are certainly transferable skills there. And yeah, it's been fantastic living here ever since.
So the ability for a friend to be like, hey, come check out this beautiful place, just come for a visit. And now that visit has been extended to getting to live here.
Exactly.
But,
and
being able to come here comes from that
lived
place.
In Calgary for 30 years, and all of a sudden there, virtually half my life there, and I go, you're going to just uproot, take a chance. It was a big step there. And again, that's that whole fear where you goes there. But that leads also to the second question, right? What do I have to do to get out of my own way? Because asking the first question was never enough.
Yeah.
Because something would always get in the way, and it turned out it's me.
There was a common denominator there.
Yes. Yeah. And it took a moment there for me to figure out that, yes, whatever my thinking on the matter, or my need for security, or lack of risk tolerance, or whatever the reason was, it was always, a lot of it came back to me.
Right.
So yeah.
So how do I need to get out of my way?
Uh-huh.
And where was like, I always ask, where was the aha moment in this? But like when this question became kind of really like crystallized for you, obviously you had your first question of who would I be if I wasn't afraid? Now, how do I get out of my way? this must have been in like an evolution of constantly saying, well, who would I be if I'm not afraid? And then little voices going, you think you can do that?
Well, I mean, there's always still self-doubt. I mean, that
Yeah.
never really goes away. And actually, I think that's a healthy thing there. You need to understand what your own limitations are there.
Mm-hmm.
Even especially in leadership there, I don't know it all. I depend upon the expertise of an engineer to help me interpret a drawing there. Will this work here from a mechanical point of view or whatever there? I depend upon the finance team there to help me as far as, questions of exchanges and stuff like that there. And can we do international trade and these things there? So, there are many factors there, but I think the moment I figured, okay, well, this is me getting my own way is going, when I looked at, okay, well, again, this had worked, this isn't working. Why don't I try something new? And again, I had a support system, including Will, and others going, do it.
Yeah.
I did not have one negative response when I sort of floated the idea. And these are people I love and trust there that I've known for, some people collect cats, or I see Star Wars stuff behind you there. I collect special human beings along the way there, my path there, and they were my support network, and they were so amazing in my journey there that I figured, ask them, and the response was positive and supportive there, and go, well, they can't all be wrong. It's me. So off I went.
Yes. And that was the kicker to make the jump to Kelowna.
Yeah, absolutely. There, having a network of people whose opinions you trust, they don't necessarily agree with me or I with them, but I trust their opinions. And if anything, I appreciate getting an opposite view of my own opinion, because
Right.
it forces me to maybe think about it. Going, hey, maybe because there's always more than one angle to look at a problem, right? Everybody has their own personal experiences and prejudices and biases there that they come to the forefront, whether you are conscious or subconscious there, and then to see that from a different angle, going, that is very, very powerful.
Yes, and that idea that we bring our own perspectives and prejudice and bias, but that's just the first perspective out of many perspectives that will be around like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So hitting that question about what's standing in my way, be like, well, it's usually our default answer to whatever it is that we're afraid of. Now, what else could there be? What else? How else do you want to sit with this? So I think that's a real interesting place. So how has that question now served you over the past, like kind of like 18 months to 2 years?
Well, again, second COVID layoff, going, okay, really? And I thought, well, no, maybe, and I've always had an entrepreneurial bent. I actually, when I was at university, we actually had our own little company. We did a little bit of work, and I did some consulting work out of the student union, and I thought, no, it's time for me to branch out there, and I had a very logical approach to it. And for those people who know and love me there, that yes, there was an Excel sheet. Sorry, it's a tool that works for me. And but still, having the loving support of my partner, she said, yeah, I think that is the path for you. Again, bouncing it off of a few people there, and one of them actually, she said, hey, I'll help you out. She's a logistics expert.
Oh, nice.
I know logistics, but she's an expert.
Yeah.
Right? I would defer to her 7 days a week. So yeah, it's really helped me with the new journey and the new company there. It's helped me decide what kind of clients to take on there. There's a preference that I have as well.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your company, and if you care to share, we can talk about how you came. You don't have to share your perspective or your preferences, but how you came to having that definition. Because a lot of entrepreneurs who are getting started out may think, I got to sell just to anybody who'll take me.
Oh, and one of my I, I I like working with manufacturing. I like working with them from anywhere from the startup to mid-sized companies.
Mm.
Um, Good for big companies? No thanks.
Yeah.
Far too regimented for me. I saw that way back when I worked for a small company that rapidly grew into medium-sized company and that got bought out by a company, and which in turn then didn't really have the money to buy us out there, and wound up the financing wound up bankrupting them, and so they
Oof.
wound up having a bidding war, and these huge conglomerates there bid against each other, and the one that won, well, they had um, a game plan written by the Wharton School of Business and University of Pennsylvania there. And oh boy, they had 30, 60, 90, 180-day targets there. And it became so regimented.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Example, winter in Calgary, ice and snow on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm walking into the building at 10 to 7. And I had a vendor meeting that day, so I'm wearing dress shoes, so I'm not so much with the grip. Walking 1 minute, and the next, feet up in the air, landed on my back and my elbow, and the elbow went out, and that strained the back upper back muscle. Of course, you fill out a report there saying, okay, there was an incident there or accident there, and I didn't miss any work or anything like that. But the report wound up on the president's desk, and he dictated that no more walking on anywhere other than the sidewalk. Well, the guys who were doing the sanding and the cleaning, they were literally at the other end of the parking lot. They were doing their work.
Yeah.
And he lived in Minnesota, so he should know about about snow and ice there. But I thought, no, what are you going to tell me to do next? How are
Yeah.
you going to? And one of the things I love working about supply chain is he gives you the opportunity to be creative there.
Oof.
Okay, I can't achieve my cost target, but how can I? Otherwise, like, what can I do? Can you throw in maybe you pick up the freight?
Right.
What can we extend financial terms? What can we do to help each other out here to make sure that you get the sale, but I get a good deal as well there.
Right.
So that's one of the things I love. So that's why I enjoy working with smaller business. You wear many hats.
Yeah.
You're going 100 miles an hour. But back to what you were saying about having to take any sale. Yeah, not every customer is right, and not every customer is right for you either.
Yeah.
So I have been very fortunate. I'm working with clients there that they're great human beings. Again, people of character that understand what I can bring to them and how I can help them out. And we have frank conversations. I can be critical when I need to be, but I can. It gives me an opportunity to be supportive as well and help them.
Right.
I love that how they're moving in the right direction. They go, well, maybe just a teeny bit of success there, but I mean, they're doing the hard work.
Yeah.
I'm just helping them find their path there.
Right. You're clearing the way for their path too, right? And
Yeah.
being somebody that steps in with all that experience does help out. It does accelerate your path. I would say it accelerates your path finding.
Yes, absolutely. I would agree
Right.
with that.
And like hearing you speak about like supply chain being a place of creativity is like, I'm sure there'd be some people going, what? Really? Creativity? Be like, it's creativity can be found in everything that we do if we allow it. So it's
Hmm.
interesting to hear the ways that you can bring that creativity, like you're bringing it into even that creativity into the relationship, finding the
Yeah.
win-win for both you and the vendors and the suppliers that you're working for, and how that then is going to have ripple effects down the road. Because if you have the good relationship and they don't have good relationships elsewhere, who are they going to go work with first?
Yeah. I always have the 3 p.m. Friday afternoon scenario.
Yeah.
When the brown stuff hits the fan, you're running around with your hair lit on fire and going, oh my God, the customer is lying down. What do
Yeah.
I do? I can call my vendors and say, hey, this is the situation. How can you help?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll have somebody work overtime on Saturday. Well, and I would say 9 times out of 10 by Monday morning, I have what I need.
Yeah.
So, we're supportive all because of that relationship. I mean, and there are people who work in supply chain. They like to pound the bejesus out of every single one of their vendors for every last dime they're going. And wow, look at you. You got a little plaque behind you on the wall there that you achieved an extra 0.5% cost reduction.
Yeah.
Where are those vendors for you when
When
that
it hits the
scenario
fan.
on Friday afternoon happened? Mine
Yeah.
are there, and having that collaboration, and it's a long-term agreement there. It's not about today or tomorrow or next month. It's about, well, if you're in business, you don't plan on being in business for only 5 years. You plan on being in business for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So make it work there. Grow together as companies there.
Yes.
Become a bigger part of that. But there's limitations as well. I don't like being more than 20% of anybody's business.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be dependent on me.
Right. Well, and that just is that those are those places that you learn from, and as well, like especially in business, if you have one client that makes up your nest egg, be like, if something goes wrong, then you're gonna have to sit there and ask yourself, who would I be if I'm not afraid, and what is standing in my way right now?
Yeah, and being afraid is pretty much, that's where the risk mitigation comes in. That's also one of my specialties, like looking at risk scenarios. I mean, I will not say that I predicted the pandemic. Certainly not.
Yeah.
The only standard that we had was SARS in 2003, and that was pretty much localized in Toronto and a couple of other places there. So nobody really foresaw the magnitude of the pandemic there, but it's how you react to it as well there, and knowing your business, like where do you get your suppliers from, like knowing your vendor base, but then drilling down one deeper, where do they get theirs from?
Right.
At least one layer deeper there, and sure enough, there was a whole bunch of them that sourced out of China there, and two of the companies were actually impacted by the initial outbreak there. So,
Right.
what are your mitigation strategies? Problem is now you have to sell it. You want to spend money on stuff that we don't need.
Yeah.
It's called a risk buy. And sure enough, there, when 90%, 97% of the world's tungsten carbide comes out of China, you want to do a risk buy.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, you look at that. I mean, geopolitical right now. If you look at the news, there, how many things are happening on the 6 o'clock news that could impact your business?
Oh, everything.
Just about, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's critical that you look at it, and that's the job of people like me.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I'm in my happy place when I'm looking at stuff like that.
But it sounds like you have a good grasp on how to apply it without falling into the trap of that fear as well, right? Because some people can look at that and go, "Oh, what are we gonna do? We're stuck." But it's, from what I'm hearing and get mining from you, is that you can see that, go, "Huh, what else? What's from
Yeah.
there? How do we
Okay.
deal
So
with it?"
what's plan B? Oh, yeah, we had secondary sources. Well, I mean, if you didn't, shame
Yeah.
on you. But, sometimes secondary sources aren't enough there, And there are, every once in a while, you get something that's sole sourced that you just can't do anything about there, because there's one company on the entire planet that has exclusive rights that makes this product, and then you have to come up with different strategies there, right? But yeah, being able to be flexible, that is critical. You need to think outside of the box there. And now, one of the things that has happened is that business as usual has just blown up. And I think if I were to describe supply chains today in one word, I'd say uncertainty. That's all it is there. And people don't deal well with uncertainty. I don't like uncertainty.
No one does.
Right? As a type A personality, I needed to know my results like yesterday. Tell me that I'm going to live,
Yeah.
Tell me that my order is going to arrive on dock on time, because I got a whole production crew standing around there looking at a layoff here if you don't get it to me on time.
Well, uncertainty basically grabs that spreadsheet that you like and shakes it like an Etch sketch and goes, "Try again."
Yeah. Well, there are days when I felt like it, and Etch-a-Sketch is as good a tool as any. And so you try to be, especially in this day and age, there's so many new technologies that are that are impacting supply chain that are fantastic that when I started off weren't available. I mean, my God, when I graduated university, the mouse had been around for just 2 years, and laptops were still in the infancy, and cell phones, well, they weren't the bricks anymore, but
Yeah.
still that little Nokia,
Yeah.
she was pretty cool. But today they're between data analytics tools and AI and blockchain for traceability and IoT. There's so many things that you can do, and even supporting the engineering group by having virtual reality or augmented reality, being able to support your maintenance crew, like if they're out in the field there and they have access to augmented reality, so they can see, okay, if I do this, and this is how I take that filter off that's stuck behind there, and I have to do it in these steps in order to not blow things up.
Yeah.
Right. So there's so many fantastic opportunities out there right now to reinvent your supply chain with technology.
Do you see that that's what's going to be forced upon it after? Because it's quite the disruption that we've experienced.
Mm-hmm. Yes and no. Some people won't. There's some industries that, nope, don't need it. We're good, thanks. You stand still, you get lapped.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a dog eat dog world, and you are pork chop right now, because if you do not adapt, you will find out that your competitors they will have built a better mousetrap because they have adapted to the changes in technology. But there's other social forces that we should talk about as well. There, that like sustainability, ESG, environment, sustainability, and governance. These are, despite what Elon Musk says, ESG is important. and that is especially with the people who are going to be the driving force within the next 5 to 10 years. And those are the millennials and the Gen Zs. They have fully embraced it. And the rest of us, well, we better get on board that bandwagon if we want to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And I said that to my age group. They're going, yeah, you may want to coast into retirement. Good luck with that if you can. But you want to change on. Besides, why wouldn't you want to keep mentally active? Learn something new. Be a lifelong learner, and it's not that hard. Hell, I taught myself about blockchain in 2017. That's when the first time I ever heard it. Was at an SCMP dinner, and for once I actually decided to have a second glass of wine. So damn sorry I did. Because all of a sudden they're talking up there, and I came to the realization, wait a minute, this could replace me. I better get on board that wagon and find out more what's coming down, what freight train is coming right towards my head here, But again, you have to understand how and if it makes sense. Is there a business case? Yeah. Don't just, blockchain was so hot for 2 years there, and everybody was one. Does it really apply?
In the right places.
You still got to get a return on investment. So do the math, get the spreadsheet out, make sure that you really see the value. Is there value added? And if there isn't, well, don't do it. But there are many things in supply chain, especially the data analytics there. But it only goes so far.
Yeah.
And I would say to those young people who are pushing through who are in their 30s and 20s and are doing brilliant things there, get away from your desk. MBWA is my favorite acronym, management by walking around. Okay. Go on the production floor, go talk to the people who are working on the machines there, talk to the engineers there, go talk to your vendors. And I know that's a little hard to do when you're in the middle of a pandemic that you're traveling with all the restrictions there. But you will be amazed what you see that you wouldn't see from your desk.
Yeah. It brings right back to those perspectives you were talking about before. It's like get in there, get in the trenches, see it from a different vantage point.
Exactly. Well, okay, your manicure can be repaired. If a little grease never hurt anybody there. But I'll give you an example. I went to this machine shop, and there was a lathe there, so there's machine shavings all over the place. But more importantly, I looked behind the machine, hydraulic fluid leaking all over the place. But that wasn't the worst part. The operator, who was the owner's daughter, was standing there in front of the machine wearing flip-flops in the machine. Oh, red flag. This
Yeah.
is, I don't want to do business with you. You're putting your employees, even if it's your daughter, especially if it's your daughter,
At
anything,
risk.
at risk here. And by doing that, you're also putting my business at risk there. Can I depend upon on-time delivery? And, you don't see that in data.
No.
You don't see that on a Zoom call, or an email or a text. This is how you do it. And it's hard to persuade sometimes the leadership there and teams there to allow you to do that. But I've always put it in a perspective of dollars. Look at the dollars I can possibly save by finding out this information there, because this is the foundation for a long-term relationship by auditing them. Spend the money up front. You do that in marketing, right?
Yeah.
Buy the airtime.
Yeah, you go find out and see what's happening behind. It's like kind of the Wizard of Oz. What's happening behind the curtain?
The curtain.
Over
Exactly.
here, be like, oh, ooh, if you guys aren't taking care of this, you're through that. You're not taking care of us as your business, as your client in this. That puts us in danger.
And it's even more critical if you're working overseas. Like, are they sweatshops there? I mean, and that's sort of a double-edged sword as well there. But you need to see what the working conditions are. There were several incidents in Asia where people were locked in and the fire started in the garment factory, and 150 plus people died.
Yeah.
Do you want your company name to be associated with that? Putting the humanic part of, or the main part of that aside there, like, your morals and your ethics, and it's critical that you do these things there. And I mean, a lot of it can be done digitally beforehand there. You do all your prep work there, but you need to get away from your desk.
Get up.
That's
and
why you have
away
laptops.
from your desk. Go be mobile. Go see what's happening.
Yeah.
Especially in that world, you can go put your hands on it and go see. You can go learn how the sausage is made. Make sure it's the right product and right everything for you.
Yeah. Go to the farm where the pig was raised.
Yeah.
Is it being raised in a humane way? Are they, feeding it chemicals, or are they allowing it basically to be free range, for lack of a better word? But you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's important, and it's becoming more and more important. And it's unfortunate that it took, so long for it to become important. I mean, I jumped on the sustainability bandwagon back in 2012, I want to say. I had I had to do a maintenance lecture, and the gentleman, he used to be the former head of procurement for the city of Vancouver, and he talked about the entire program for the 2010 Winter Olympics. And what they did there, like, okay, well, you want to build this building? Yeah, we're going to need you to hire some at-risk youth there and run them through an apprenticeship program.
Yeah.
What a cool way to ensure that they have a lifelong income.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to build this? Here, we have some some trees there that were, at a fire there. They're still usable. Repurposing buildings, being able to take the building down there. It was brilliant what they did there.
Yeah.
And that got me going, okay, what can I do? What small part can I do? And there's always been resistance, because unless you do it in to scale, there's an added cost thing. So this is where the creative part comes in that I enjoy is, okay, how can I offset these costs in order to justify it?
I love it. It pulls it all right back.
Yeah.
Well, sir, you remember how at the start, before we went on air, I said, hey, I'm going to look up and realize we've blown past our 40 minutes. Well, we've done that and then some. It's almost 45 minutes into this, and I want to be respectful of your time. This has been a great conversation today, Torsten. I'm really glad that we were able to share your opinions and your insights with all the viewers and audience here today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gene. I appreciate the time there. And if I, like I said, having a good, strong support network there, having close friends, it is so critical there. You can make it through just about anything. And I want to make sure that the quote that you said there, that Winston Churchill does get credit for it. It wasn't me. My my oldest friend there, I've known him for over 40 years there. He sent that to me the first day I went in for treatments. Just he say I can't, because he lives in Ontario. He couldn't
Yeah.
come out there. So I can't be there, but you're gonna get a quote every day just to buck you up there and make your
Oh,
day.
I
And
love that.
yeah, it stuck with me because even when I was feeling a little down and well, let's face it, I was scared.
Yeah.
You know, let's be honest here. It allowed me to, okay, let's regroup. You know, can't, feeling sorry for yourself doesn't get you anywhere. Yes, it's allowed, short period of times, but
Yeah.
I'm moving forward. Again, Gene, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it there. And
it's
I
been
look
a
forward to
blast.
an in-person coffee again.
Oh, for sure. So before we let you go, opportunity to give a shout out. So we give a shout out to Winston Churchill and to your friend there. Anything we want to bring to to give your business a shout out?
I'm available.
I'm
I'm
available.
available for a coffee to have a discussion to see whether it's the right fit, whether I can help you, but I want people to succeed, and the journey is going to be exciting regardless of which direction you go there. So
Love it. All right.
yeah,
And the
find me on
last
LinkedIn.
the LinkedIn information is down below. All the ways to get in touch with Torsten is in the show notes. So please definitely reach out to him.
Wonderful.
Before we let you go, we've got my last question I ask everybody. We're going to jump into my time machine. We're going to go into the future by 10 years. When we open the door, we meet your older self. What's the one thing he's going to say thank you for?
The opportunities that have been presented to me, whether it's in my personal or professional life there, that I can still, I can still fulfill my dreams as well as others there. That I'm continue making a difference.
I love that. It's a great answer.
Yeah.
Well,
Just off the top of my head, I forgot you were going to ask that question.
that's why we leave it to the end, because there's such a
There
rich
you go.
conversation in between.
Yeah, I can't sweat it for 45 minutes then.
Well, I appreciate your time today, sir. And to everybody else, thank you so much for watching episode 94 of the Livecast Conversations with. We'll be back next Wednesday. Until then, have a good one.